kind of talking about the list I played last week and then talking about the adjustments after that, just to not waste anybody's time. Place, I think it's got like second place. I think it was 40 something. I think it was like 48 players in the tournament last week. And just wanted to talk about it, so let's talk about it. I played 40 cards. I believe this is 40. You know, correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong. I built this with a lot of stuff in mind in the room, but I'm also doing this profile with a lot of stuff in mind going to the next format. We got to talk about Bestial because it's really, really strong. Bysted, if you don't know the standard name, I think that's the name that they've changed it to. It is a thorn in the ass of Drytron to start off telling you about that. You're going to have to be ready for it, so I hope I can help you out with that. Getting into the cards that I played last week and then adjusting on the fly one by one. I played triple impermanence to start off, kind of going backwards through the profile. I played triple impermanence simply because I like drawing this going second, and I almost said sixth. And I also like drawing it for the sixth card. I like it to be a board breaker, but I also like having it as an interaction on your opponent's turn, simply because some of the cards that they drop onto the field now are just so good. You have to have something for them. However, I feel like this is going to easily, and this is the first adjustment that I would make, these are easily going to change into a card like Dwbl. So in my opinion, you have to have something for Bysted. Again, it is your public enemy. It is your a pain in your existence. You're going to have to be ready for it. Dwbl is a card that can help you kind of push through what your opponent is trying to stop you with. I don't like hand traps inside of Drytron. I like to be able to play. However, you have to have some kind of defense. You're going to die. This card also can kind of help protect in an offensive way by protecting your Drytrons, and also stop your opponent in defensive ways. If they're playing tier, this becomes really, really strong. Well timed against a Sprite Elf becomes really, really strong. All of those things are great consideration that you have to have. I highly recommend Dwbl going in this next format. And you can't play Chaos Hunter, so you know, that's the best answer I could come up with, besides playing like more Lancias, which you're gonna have definitely something to consider as well. But Lancia is only a one turn card. You have to have something to be able to stop your stuff from getting wiped out. And the quick effect being able to be on your turn with the Bysted stuff, Lancia is not enough. Foolish Burial, Called by the Grave, Fafnir, Mystic Mine, Harpy's Feather Duster, Terraforming, and Mediana's Drytron. Those are all the one-ofs. I feel like you don't want to really stick to playing mine like that and like trying to stick it on the board and making it a thing, because people have answers for it, and when everybody's prepared for mine, that's when it starts to go down. But you still want to have it, so that's why I'm playing only one of that. The Foolish is just another name. Called by the Grave has become semi-bricky, which is weird to say, but a lot of people have stuff that's coming out of their hand, so Called by the Grave's power level has gone down, but it's still a very powerful one-up that you have to play simply because of Rogue, and Called by the Grave dominates Rogue, so it is what it is. Fafnir, you can play 2 instead of the 3 Nova that I'm playing. That's still an adjustment mathematically that you can make, and it would make perfect sense. It's just, you know, right now I feel like Sprite has kind of gone down in numbers, so I went back to playing only 1. But that's something, again, that you could easily adjust to. That'd be a second adjustment if I had one. If you're still worried about Sprite, if Sprite is everywhere for you, still play 2 of this. Literally, it's a very easy adjustment to make. And then as far as the rest of them, Terraforming to search one of the field spells, Harpy's Feather Duster for the random rogue jackass is playing a lot of Eldritch or Dynamorphy or something crazy like that. And then the ritual spell, I don't feel like you need multiples. If you need multiples, you're gonna lose that game. Or you're just gonna brick. You're either gonna brick on the ritual spell, you're gonna overdraw it, or you're going to, if you need it because they banished this, then they're just a really, really patient player, because most of the time they're gonna crow something else. And most of the time now, they're going to be removing your light stuff. So like, this isn't gonna get removed like that. You don't need 2 of. That's my opinion. Bysted isn't coming after this. It's not a monster. So you don't need 2. That's my opinion. But I understand where people are coming from. As far as the rest of the deck, 2, this is where I'm playing 2 ofs and stuff. 2 ofs, as far as this card, you don't need 3 of it because you want to see the names. You don't want to keep seeing this card, because this card then becomes a brick if 2 of them in your hand. You don't want to keep grabbing them. I would make this adjustment here. This is the 3rd adjustment that I would make. Forbidden Droplet should be a 3 of. Bysted, a lot of those monsters are 2,500. Therefore, Vanity's Rule is not going to stick on the board because it's a free body DD crawl. that's a 2500. Therefore, Forbidden Droplet's probably going to go to 3 in my list. That would be the adjustment that I'll make. I'll probably play it again this week, and you know, if I do well, I'll let you know. Shout out to everybody going to YCS. Please be safe. Safe travels to all my friends and all the homies and everybody in the community. Just be safe. Enjoy the YCS. As far as the droplets though, 3 probably is the correct number. Getting into the monsters, the fun part of the deck, Vanity's Ruler is still the best way to go. Just my opinion. A lot of the stuff, the more effective pain stuff, the turn skip stuff, you can still do that, but there's just so many other, there's so much versatility inside these formats. They're going to walk right through with more effective pain a lot more than they used to. However, turn skipping or skipping phases is still really strong, but Vanity's Ruler is game. And with cards like Ultimate Slayer and stuff like that just don't impact this, and people forgetting about droplets, I noticed it a lot with people taking Dark Ruler out of the deck and putting in hand traps, and you can still end on Ruler because hand traps don't really stop Drytron like that. Vanity's Ruler is the best build. That's just the basic understanding of why I'm playing Ruler and why I'm not really wasting my time on anything else. As far as the adjustment, I feel like you're going to have to make, this isn't an adjustment. I've been playing it. I maybe not played it like one time and did well without it, and that was when I was playing Pot of Prosperity. So you're gonna have to pick one or the other. Talents is dumb, ignorant, silly. The bicep stuff, definitely bestial as far as the name and the TCG. They're going to interact on your turn. Talents is going to crack them in the head for doing that. It's probably mandatory. Moving on. Most of the time I use the Forceless Entry effect when I'm going first, because people are playing hand traps. At least around me, I see more hand traps and people have kind of slid away from board breakers, but it goes back and forth. But again, with the new stuff entering the fray, a lot of people want to try out new cards. Interact on your turn. Talents is dumb. And Fluanderies is really strong right now. Exo Sister pops off. You know, it's dumb. I'll just say you probably want to play Talents. 3 Nova. Again, this could be 2 Nova, 2 Field Spell. Doesn't really matter. It's still the same thing. But if it really matters, if you're seeing a lot of Sprite, just take one of these out and put it in the Fafnir. As far as the names, I'm going backwards through the names. You're going to get your stuff banished. You have to play this now. Seriously. 3 Delta. Again, with this, if you're playing Pot of Prosperity, you're going to have to like slide some stuff around because Talents and Prosperity conflict, but you can still play them together. I wouldn't recommend that because you'll draw that conflict a lot. Like, trust me, you'll try to ignore it and it'll happen every single time. And you can still use the other effects of Talents, but you know, I'd rather just have the names to be able to interact. 2 names, I'm going off. Doesn't matter what deck you're playing most of the time. But the bestial stuff, you're going to have to make these adjustments, and highly recommend playing beta. I feel like it's almost mandatory. 3 Gamma, 3 Zeta. This grabs back from the graveyard. You guys know this stuff. Don't have to go over that. This grabs a ritual spell. You guys know this stuff. Alpha grabs the ritual monsters. You guys know this stuff. Maxed out on the names. I think it's 13 names. The 12 standard, and then the beta is the new edition that I feel like everybody's gonna have to play, but I've been playing it. Besides the Ruler, these are your fairy targets. Lancea is probably going to be more pertinent. It's probably another adjustment that you may want to consider. That's up to you. And then 1 Diviner, you don't want to overdraw them. If you're playing like Herald of Perfection, you can play a build with the Super Quantal stuff. I saw Logan's video. It's really strong. It's a really amazing deck build. Paul Pelga's been playing for a while. There's been a lot of people playing for a while. It's pretty good. It is pretty good. It definitely gives you some card economy. I don't necessarily think you need to play it. I still feel like Vanity's Ruler and just getting to the point is sometimes just better than a lot of the extra stuff. However, that stuff, if it pops off, it basically is like a new EVA package. So you may want to look up that Super Quantal stuff, and I'll be playing it pretty soon here as well myself. As far as the last of the monsters, you guys know it's a ritual deck. You can't have a ritual deck without them. And you'll see in my extra deck here in a split second why this is so good right now, and that Konami made such a mistake. But you know, some of these other decks are so powerful that hey, triple Ben 10, it's all good. And then the big homie Draconids definitely puts in work. When you have stuff that you just can't punch over, you have to have something like him in your deck. If you get drolled, you want to end on him. If you get hand trapped a lot, you're going to end on them. If you need to wipe your opponent's board out because they have a lot of special summon stuff, you've hit them with Forbidden Droplet, you've Dark Rulered them, it's in my side deck. You have to have something like Draconids inside of your deck, and these are just so good. And you'll see it here in a split second, which is now because I'm getting into the extra deck. I played Intis and Arclight. I'm not playing Slayer because I'm playing evenly in my side deck. It's just been performing better, and with a lot of the stuff, I've just been getting eradicated anyway. So like I've still been having evenly in my hand. It's still been popping off, and Drytron can play through an eradicator when you get eradicated and other stuff, to where I was getting wiped out for playing Slayer. So this is just the package that I was going with. If you play a Slayer, you'd obviously want to bump up maybe one of these, but that's up to you. As far as the links, Link Karibo, IP Masquerena, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus, and Unicorn. The Nightmare stuff has become really, really dumb. This is different. I know that it's different, and it's become really, really stupid. Here's why. Natasha, stealing their entire board, and if you can't kill them, sometimes some of these decks are putting so much layered interruptions that you won't actually get to their life points in the full fashion that you're used to. So sometimes you'll end on boards, and the board where this is pretty much like the setup, and like a Link Karibo will be in here somewhere, probably like this or something. You know, I hope this is lining up in the camera. It comes up, and if you can't kill them, I've done that at least 2 times in the past couple of tournaments, especially since I've been playtesting against the new stuff, on ending on this stuff and then being able to draw during my draw phase outside of my normal draw, because they're still co-linked. My opponent couldn't fight through it, and you know, if Drytron gets the clapback, you're gonna lose, and this pretty much ensures the clapback. It's win more-ish to sort of play this in a sense, but sometimes with the ability of layers, being able to fight through a board with a card like Nightmare Cerberus that has been a forgotten about card in Yu-Gi-Oh! I highly recommend it. IP Masquerena to play through some of the stuff in their board that you can't deal with, which we'll get into in a second, and making an indestructible Boral Sword that can just pretty much seal the game is really, really strong. I highly recommend Geonator, Transverser, and Relinquished Anima. People have forgotten about zones and getting their stuff taken. You might want to consider it as well. So that may be Nightmare Cerberus. I tried it last week, the last couple weeks, and it's been ignorant, but it may be something that you may want to move off of. You just don't know. You kind of always adjusting, especially since Drytron is kind of in the rogue category in my opinion right now, because Bison put it there. Boral Sword Dragon and Underworld Goddess is what I played. You don't need Boral Sword, however, just wrapping up a game quickly and taking them out, it's a good thing. But most of the time, Drytron can put so much offense on the board, you don't need a kill switch like Boral Sword Dragon, but it's still good to have. Underworld Goddess for IP Masquerena, because sometimes your opponent puts on an unaffected monster that Draconids can't quite get over, or they'll put something that you just can't deal with it. You need to just link their stuff off. You use IP Masquerena and take their monster off the board. If you can't go into the IP Masquerena, you can still take their monster off the board. Highly recommend this, feel like it's mandatory to play. Also recommend Black Rose Dragon as a possibility as well, as another card that you may want to consider in your extra deck. The Exceeds, you got Lyralux. No food show today, or last week, the last couple weeks, just because this card's technically better. It took me a long time to see that, but this card's better. And as far as the Fafnirs, if you're not playing any like crazy variant where you're using Utopia Draco or something, you only need 2 Fafnir. Still pretty much the standard. Downer for the extra material for Zeus, Beatrice to help you out of the bricks, Zeus to wipe their board. Before, this was a lot more threatening, just because I was playing more mines and I was Zeusing people under that mine a lot more, and I was hard going second a lot more. However, there's just more interaction that you have to have. You guys have seen the adjustment with the Ghost Bell that I was talking about, and so on and so forth. So Zeus isn't quite as ignorant as it was. It's still Zeus, but you're not going to stick it the same way in this board and this build as you used to. It's just my opinion. The side, if you're playing Prosperities, these are definitely a little bit more powerful, but it's still having this card inside of your deck to just sack your opponent and then burn them in time sometimes. I had a guy actually try to stall me in a draw phase and try to like activate a whole bunch of stuff and stall for a couple minutes a couple weeks ago. It was pretty funny. It was an online tournament. I ended up winning it, but it was comical. It's all good. He was trying to come up with whatever he could, but he just got burned in time. Lava Golem is stupid, man. And just not dealing with their board sometimes, it takes their resource game away. Sometimes they needed something to be destroyed. You're just like, nah, bro, here's a Lava Golem. And then sometimes you can take Natasha, you take it back on Natasha and kill him with it. I've done that a lot as well. Or you just, you know, it's just so much that you can do with Lava Golem. It's just dumb. Twin Twisters for the back row decks. Fluanderies just gets wiped by Twin Twister every single time. Shout out to Fluanderies. I love the deck. I know its weaknesses, and that's why I'm playing that. Evenly also has been performing extraordinarily well. I like this card to be Slayer. It's better than Slayer. It just is. I try to like justify playing Slayer. I pick them up, and then people want them. That card is very, very high priced. I've had it at least 12 to 15 times, and I've just offloaded them or borrowed them. I never have the card in my hands, and Evenly is a better card in my opinion anyway, because when you're going against a random rogue, when you're going against Dynamorphia, that Ultimate Slayer is not enough. It's just not enough. Where Evenly is like battle, and then they're already like, oh crap, he's still playing. Who plays Evenly? Yeah, I'm playing Evenly. I highly recommend it. Feather Storms. You can play Nightmare Griffin to be able to set this more often in some kind of capacity. You don't need that. Just if you end on the bird, the Lyrilusk, sometimes in your game 2s and game 3s, this is just devastating and is literally game. Anytime you can have a Wing Beast inside of any of these decks, I recommend this card. If you're playing a rank 4 deck, play Castell. It's in my it's in one of our tech videos. If you're playing like rank 4s, slip a Castell in there and slip this in your side deck. Game. You have to do stuff like that to like close games out quickly, guys. And this card is so ignorant that it's just people get irritated because they're like, really? Yeah, that's always the reaction to this card. Yeah, really. That's how good that card is. Droplet's gonna go into my main deck. I already know, just because of Bestial, you have to. And then Dark Rulers, I couldn't find space for them in the main, and this is where I recommend that they are. Guys, I hope that those little small adjustments have helped you in some kind of way. This list got second. Shout out to all the wise guys. Clothing line is coming soon, kind of a little brief adjustment. I know I talk you guys head off about this stuff. I literally had stuff all kind of set up, and I've been ripped off twice, guys. So there's a lot of plans that I have, and they keep getting bumped back. The clothing line is still on its way. Trust me. Just be patient with me. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Pegasus out. Arrivederci.